Thanks for joining us here at the table. I'm Rachel, and giving us their sage and sensible advice today is Shona, Rachel and Melody. How are you ladies?
Good, and you? A lot of pressure
Good.
there.
I like to up the ante. We'll get into it. Well, on the menu for discussion today is the challenging topic of choosing the right school for your children. What were your core requirements and did the school meet them? We're also going to chat to Sarah Jane Meeson, who has set up a community of Christian women in business to encourage, support and build each other up. We've got Gia and Olive in the kitchen making tahini dressing, and Alicia has a low-impact, high-intensity workout session. Work that one out. But first, it is said or assumed that cartoons are made for kids, although there are plenty of adults out there who actually enjoy them too. But what happens when the adult-only jokes are subtly included in the script of a kids' cartoon show? Well, from Looney Tunes to SpongeBob SquarePants, Fatherly.com posted 50 separate examples of kids' TV shows containing sexual innuendos and drug references, among other things. Now, producers know that it's going to go over the kids directly, over their heads, but what about indirectly? Like, do you think there's a problem here? Are these jokes okay?
You know, initially I thought that this was a conspiracy theory because I've heard it for years that there are all of these little sexual innuendos in cartoons. But looking at this, I realized that there's so many of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's great to have adult humor because we do have to watch the movies. But I think
There's a large adult audience watching a lot of these cartoons.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of the sexual jokes, I think, once you start seeing and realizing, you're like, wow, that's super inappropriate, I think.
I know some of them are pretty obvious that, okay, yes, it's a sexual joke, adult joke kind of thing, but some of them had to be explained to me still, so...
Even
Yes, I'm the same. I still feel like some of them go over my head.
So are we just reading too much into things?
But some of them are there.
Well, did you watch some of them, though, that they had on the article?
Yeah,
Some
I
of them
did.
are really, like, blatant, and I'm like, oh, heck, wait, this is a kid's show.
And some of them are shows from my childhood, and I would have never had any clue, you know?
Yeah,
I would have
yeah.
been way too innocent.
And look, I've taken our boys to some of the movies or whatever, and I know they didn't understand what was being suggested at that time. Maybe later on, if they'd watched it again, they would have seen it and gone, oh, okay.
So did they ever ask about anything,
No.
and you had to answer?
No.
I think the problem comes when you're laughing at a joke that is not geared towards them, and then they turn to you and go, oh, why is it funny?
Yeah.
Then you're in trouble.
Yeah, so what would you do if someone, like a young child, asked you about one of the jokes that you saw on Fatherly.com? Like, what would you do? How would you answer it?
Yeah, I probably would just kind of laugh it off. I definitely
Yeah.
wouldn't go into detail to
No.
explain it. I mean, because some of them are really, they're kind of out there, some of them. But I think the thing for me, I always assumed as a kid that people who were making kids shows had kids and innocence in mind.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the deeper question is what's their back thinking in putting some of those jokes in there, besides entertaining the adults, you know?
Do you monitor what Jax watches?
Definitely. I mean, we're a Wiggles house all the way. Like,
Yeah.
we have almost
They're
every
pretty
show.
good. They're pretty tame.
Yeah, so unless there's some like secret joke in there that I don't know about, that's pretty much what he's watching at the moment.
Right. Did you watch what your boys grew up with? Did you monitor or just
Yeah.
say, look, that's a kids program, I'm sure it's fine?
Yes, I did do that for a while, and then I started watching some of them, and it was like, oh, no, okay, you're not watching that. Yeah, but we were into Thomas the Tank Engine
Yeah.
and, you know, Barbie and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it was pretty harmless.
Yeah, well, okay, so here's my question, though. If it's... Because sometimes the jokes that are in these shows come out of kids' mouths in everyday life, and you're like, oh, should that be coming out of a kid's mouth? So if it's not funny out of a kid's mouth, why is it funny out of an adult's mouth? Do you know what I'm saying? Like...
No.
You're saying sexual jokes there?
Yeah, they're sexual jokes. You know, so kids watch the TV, they pick it up, they say it, they don't necessarily understand what they're saying. But if it's funny for a kid to pick that information up, is it funny for an adult to be saying those jokes? Do you know what I mean? Like, where's the standard?
I get what you mean, and I actually agree that there needs to be a bit of a standard, because personally, I don't like sexual jokes as an adult as well. So even those jokes, yes, they are funny, but are they necessary?
Well, that's the question. Kids
I think
don't really need
especially
them.
in a
Do we
kid's-
need them?
I would
Yeah.
know.
And I guess I am specifically talking about those sexual innuendos or those drug references. There are other things where, you know, it's kind of funny, but an adult will get it, but it's not irreverent in any way.
I know in watching Madagascar, I thought there was tons of adult humor in there that was funny, but I don't remember any of.
Yeah.
I don't remember them being sexual jokes, but they were funny things kids wouldn't understand.
Do you have a favourite show from when your kids were young?
Oh, look, it had to be Lion King. I don't know how many times we saw that.
Righto. Well, someone who is never inappropriate but always fantastic is Gia and Olive. They are in the kitchen. They're making some tahini dressing.
what are we making?
Hi.
Hi! We're making tahini dressing. And this is her daddy's recipe, my man's recipe. He makes it for his salads, his big salads for lunch. And you can actually use any salad. This tahini dressing goes everywhere. It's delicious. Okay, so you need tahini, obviously, half a cup of tahini. We've got fresh lemon juice. Oops. We got a quarter of a cup, of apple cider vinegar.
Yeah.
So quarter of a cup of apple cider vinegar and 1 garlic clove. And there's a bit of salt in there, like half a teaspoon. Some water, that's half a cup, I reckon. Do you reckon that's a lot? Let's try it. That'll be a bit runny, but anyway, we'll try it, hey? I just went with whatever my husband told me to do. There we go. Okay, I forgot that a little bit of honey can be added to it just to sweeten it a touch. Just a little bit of honey. There we go. It'll give it some sweetness. Okay, let's add some more water. Yeah, go with the consistency you want. So if you think it needs a little bit more water, go with it. I just like it a little bit more runny. Okay, so what we've made here is just, you don't have to make this type of salad, but the salad I made is just a baked cauliflower salad. So just baked cauliflower with some seasoning on top of some leaves. Any leaves, there's baby spinach here, different types of leaves. And I just throw some cashews in there. This is a very nice recipe. A friend of mine, his mother made this for us. She's Lebanese background. She makes the best food and she made it with a tahini dressing. So you just pour the tahini dressing on top of the salad. There you go. Add some more cashews to it. And voila, done. Oh, and the rest can be in the fridge. You can pop it in the fridge in an airtight container or jar and it'll last for at least a week. So you've got... Oh, enjoy the salad. Can I try and throw one in? Go. Got it, yes.
Love it. Thanks, Gia and Olive. Well, we've actually got a free recipe book for you today to help spark some healthy meal ideas for you and your family. Now, I've got it here. It's called Health and Happiness. And all you have to do to get your free copy is to email us at hello@thetabletv.com, or if you'd prefer, you're welcome to phone us. The number in Australia is 1300 300 389. And for our New Zealand viewers, it's 0800 694 673. All we need is your name, your postal address, and the name of this week's free recipe book giveaway, Health and Happiness. Well, how do you know which school is going to be the right school for you and your kids? Kate Gadini wrote for KidSpot website saying how she regrets sending her kids to the wrong school. It caused a lot of heartache and disruption for her whole family. And it is one of the big decisions that we as parents have to make. Well, Kate has come up with a list of areas to ask about before making that final decision. Now, did you ladies read the list that she had? Because she originally said that she was distracted by the glossy brochures, the NAPLAN scores, the music programs, the better education rankings that they had, and she said that sort of distracted her, so she came up with this list. But do you remember what she wrote on the list?
I remember one of them was how they communicate with you as a parent.
Yeah. So she had a list. So how they communicate with you, the homework and how that's managed at school. She thought you should look into the P&C. I don't know if that's really a core value that you'd want to tick off. Really,
I had to Google what P&C was.
Did you?
I had to look it up too.
She's the mother of a 1-year-old.
No, I had no idea either. But I think it's equivalent to our American PTA, so like Parent-Teacher Association.
Parent and friend.
Yeah.
You've had your kids go through school, so you would have sort of gone from looking into a school to enduring whatever the school offered and that sort of thing. What's your advice? Like, what did you experience?
Well, the boys went to a public school to start with, so you didn't have any choice.
Okay.
They just went where
And
they
that's
lived.
one thing, not everyone has a lot of choice.
No, that's right. You're in a zone, so
Yep.
that's where you go. But then we took them out and put them into a Christian school, and they went to a Christian high school. And then Aaron opted out in year 10 and went to another high school because he didn't like the school he was in. And look, you know, if I'd known this was about, I probably would have thought harder about where I was sending our children. Because you get sucked into all they've got, you know, all these computers and they've got all these music programs and everything else. But there was one thing that she left off there, which I was really interested in, was she said nothing about how they deal with bullying.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
That's a massive thing in school.
Yeah.
I wonder how much you can really observe, because she's saying all of these things that you need to do besides going in. And my husband has told me it's inappropriate for me to ask. I want to sit there in class and see how they're interacting.
A lot of schools, and the school that my girls go to, they have open days once or twice a year where parents or people who are considering that school can come in, go into the classrooms, watch the teachers teach and that sort of thing. I mean, I go in and watch my girls in the classroom, but it's for prospective parents as well. So it's not inappropriate at all.
But it just sounds, I don't know, it just sounds you're looking for a lot of things, and
Yes.
is it
Especially if you're paying for it. Yeah, you are.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the thing with the choice, that if you're paying for it, you can shop and choose and whatever.
But this is your child's future. I mean, to be honest with you all, like, I'm considering homeschooling, which I think is crazy.
Whoa!
I know.
It's got to meet the core values.
But I don't know, and I think it's crazy, but I myself think it's crazy. So I'm saying whoa too, because maybe I'm not realistic about it right now, but I think, you know, you have the right to think about your child's future, about the values that are being instilled in them. And so,
because let's face it, they're at that institution for 7 or 8 hours a
more
day.
time than they spend with you.
That's right. So their values have to align with what your values are.
And that's the key thing. And what I loved about our school is that they're really big on partnering with you on the journey. Like, I know schools who have said, no, parents, you drop your kids off and that's it, you pick them up. Whereas I'm invited in to help out with reading and all sorts of things.
But
and
most
I
schools
love it.
do that, don't
Not all
they?
of them.
But how did you assess that before you chose the school?
I spoke to other parents.
Okay, so
and that's the key, and that's when you find out where there's a fit for you.
Maybe
Go
that's
to
something she
go
left
to
off
the
as well.
daycare and get involved in it, or get involved with parents who are already at the school.
Yeah, a lot of schools will happily have an interview with them, and I wouldn't be afraid to ask those big questions, like you said, about bullying, teaching styles, the homework.
I'm a bit over the homework. I think you can discuss that with the teacher at a level.
Yeah, righto.
To a certain extent, I don't know, I just feel like it's a bit too first worldly for me and too helicopter parenting.
To helicopter parenting? Well, I mean, I guess the question is, how do you want them to sort of come out in the end? And that's something to consider. We're taking you over to Alicia now. She's got a low impact, high intensity workout.
Hey, it's Alicia, the Table's resident PT, back with you. Girls, we're going to talk about another topic today. Have you heard of HIIT training?
Yes.
Definitely. Okay, so that high intensity interval training, and what do you kind of picture when you think of HIIT training?
Sweating, breathing, dying.
Yeah. Complete exhaustion.
Totally. So it's lots of jumping as well, right? And this is the thing, like, a lot of people have problems with the jumping part of doing exercise because they might have dicky knees, or they're just carrying excess weight and it's just too difficult. So I just want to share some tips on how you can make a HIIT workout low impact, so that you're not actually affecting knees and things like that if you've got issues. So Mary Ellen, I'm going to use you as our little model today. So you know the good old jumping jack, right? So jumping out and in. We can actually make that low impact by just taking the arms out and the legs out, stepping it instead, basically, right? Another thing we can do is just doing like knee lifts. So if you do opposite elbow to knee, you're going to still be getting the whole body working. And this is really the tip here that I want to give, is that if you can make it low impact by still moving arms and legs together, but just taking the jumping out, right? So even with like squats, instead of doing a squat jump, you can squat and then lift a knee. Okay? And even just me doing this, I'm starting to get puffed a bit. You know? So
Like, how many of these can I do?
Yeah. It doesn't actually take that much to get the heart rate up. The other tip too with that is if you do anything that's on holding your body weight on the ground. So one example could be walking out push-ups. So if you come over this side for me, Mary Ellen, and what I want you to do is just walk your hands out into a plank position.
And then walk back,
and then walk back again.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So again, you're not putting any strain on the knees, but you're having to carry your body weight, which is going to get that heart rate up and increase your strength. Okay. So is there anything else, like, have you guys got any issues like hips or knees or anything like that?
Flicking
Okay.
Yeah, mostly knees.
And do you find squats and lunges difficult or?
Sometimes, yeah.
Those
Yeah.
walking like lunges that you do with weight, that's when my knees really hurt.
Me too. Okay, yeah. So even with squats and lunges, what you can do is actually just not go as far in the move. So another one that you can do is just doing like step forwards like this, where you're getting that slight bend in the knees, but you're not actually having to go into that full squat and feel that strain. So there's so many different exercises that you can do, and all you need to do to make it HIIT or high intensity is have longer work sections and shorter rest. So 20 seconds work, 10 seconds rest, or 30 seconds work, 15 seconds rest. And just doing any of this stuff, moving those arms, those legs, you're still going to get puffed. And that's what you want. You want to get that heart rate elevated, back down again, elevated, back down again, like that. So I might give you one more just so that we can demonstrate as well. Come back over this side for us, Mary Ellen. And what I want you to do is come down walk out into that plank position. But when you're there, I want you to drop into push-up. Yes, and up, and up.
Great job, great job.
Good. And then show me how you do those hot hands, so tapping the shoulders. Okay, great. So you can basically put a few different moves together into one, and you're really getting that heart rate up just from doing that, particularly if you're down using your body weight. Feeling it, right? Now, if you're looking for some low impact workouts, we've actually put some up on our YouTube channel. Just look for those low impact HIIT workouts, and you can actually join us to do some of those 10-minute workouts without any impact on your knees. Cool, see you later.
Well, our guest today listened to the promptings of God and now heads up an organisation that supports Christian women in business. Sarah Jane Meeson dreamed about how she could inspire women to build their business and share their faith. SJ, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I'm loving the idea of what you're doing here, but I'll get you to explain it because I'm not sure I would do it justice. So what is it that you're actually doing with your organisation?
So we're basically uniting women who are in business, actually from all over the world now, into a central spot. So we've got a directory, we've got a community, we do online events, we do offline events, and now we've actually got physical meetup groups all across the world.
So these are
really
people who
exciting.
actually own businesses or are involved in businesses?
Both. Both, yeah.
Because there's a lot of, there's a lot of databases and networks out there for women, but not one quite like this.
No. So I can just remember 5 years ago, myself and my husband were getting into property and investing, and I wanted to share about it in church and, talk about it with other people. And people didn't quite understand what it was that we wanted to do, and they couldn't quite grasp that it's okay to build an empire, if you like, and bring God into it and do it for God. And so out of that birthed a little church group that I made up. And then, 5 years, here we are later, and now we're building a global movement, teaching women that it's okay to bring God and business together. And let's see what happens when we do that.
SJ, there's some businesses that seem like they naturally lend themselves to, incorporating Christianity, but it seems like, are there women throughout all different types of businesses in the Christian women in business?
Yeah. So we have women in roof restoration. We've got women who own commercial cleaning. There's interior designers, graphic designers. The seals on your fridges.
Yeah.
There's even a lady who has a business that does that.
So I'm a bit slow on the uptake here, but what is it? I'm just thinking, what is it that you actually offer these people in your group?
Okay, so basically it's encouragement and support. So we have an online Facebook community where we're on there every day. Each Monday we share a business devotional. So we actually empower and want to empower members. So we invite them on a Monday morning to come and share the word, what's God put on their heart, how does that relate to their business. And then we have the face-to-face business socials. So it's like, okay, let's come together, let's pray, let's talk about our problems, let's hand it over to God, let's brainstorm this. So it's worked really, really well.
So what do you see as some of the unique challenges that women face in running a business, in their own business?
We have a podcast show as well, so we're talking through those issues. Okay, how do we face that? And then there's issues of being mums. How do I manage like being a mum, bringing in the income, still running my household?
And that is really unique to women because there is that balance. And do you guys sort of brainstorm or do you support each other when it comes to going, how do I balance this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
yeah.
what does that look like? As in, do people sort of jump online? Do they call each other?
Oh, all of the above.
Okay.
Yeah. You could say we're more like a family now, where it's just, we have little Facebook groups, you know, on Messenger. A lot of the meetups now where we have the business socials, they're really getting to know each other. So they'll just set up a Messenger group and go, girls, this is happening right now. I need you to pray. And we're like, yep, on it.
Awesome.
And God just, you know, he works. It's good.
I'm wondering also, are you teaching them business skills? Are they able to start from scratch and say, you know, I really want to jump into business. I have no idea where to start. Are they able to find help and support in that way too?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got an academy that's attached to the online element. So in your own time, you can come in, you can do all the workshops. We've got business basics, time management. How do I manage
Time
all of this?
management.
Yes.
It's a bit of a swear word in our house.
We're actually in the middle of doing a 6-week business devotional, business Bible study challenge, and I put a poll up and I said, okay girls, what is it you want to learn about with business and the Bible and God? And the first one was faith and business. The second one was hearing God's voice, and the first one was time management. The third one was time management. I'm like, oh.
That's because time management and kids do not
No.
Oh, that sounds like such an awesome thing. How many women do you have sort of in this community that you've built up?
So we've reached over 120 actually in the paid membership,
Okay.
but our scope of reach globally is about 30,000 and now even more. So yeah, it's God's just planted it and now he's...
And what are some of the success stories that you're hearing back from these women who are part of the group?
Well, there's a couple. There's one girl who she's in New Zealand. And she was really unsure about joining, and she was like, okay, I'm just starting out my business. I'm not sure if I'm qualified. You are qualified. But I'm really keen to join the community. And we've said, yeah, you know, it doesn't matter. Come on board, we're here. This is why you need us. And then since she said yes, God has just opened up so many opportunities. She runs mountain biking for women. And he's just opened doors with New Zealand government body who run the bicycle thing. So now she's in schools. She's taking women on retreats and teaching them how to ride bikes. And every time she says yes to doing something within the community, God's just gone, well done. Here's another great opportunity for you. And she just comes back once a month and goes, girls, you're never going to believe this now. I'm like, yeah, we are.
Because you've done heaps of businesses, Shona. Like, have you sort of had? Did you have anything like this during your time of support?
I'm really impressed
or...
with this. I'm going onto the Facebook page and having a look. Because even now, like, I'm still heavily involved in business, and it's really hard to find people who know that God is working through their business and appreciate the fact that God is working through your business and are willing to talk about it. You know, like, I don't know how you feel, but I've always found that business and wealth don't match up with God, and it's a bit of a dirty word.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be wealthy and be Christ-like, which is not at all what it's about.
No. Yeah. Just the parable of the talents where God's on about, if I give you something, I'm going to trust you. What
to
I
increase
think.
it.
Yeah, and if you can go and increase it, I'm going to give you more.
Yeah.
So there's a few in there where people have taken out of context, you know, money can be the root of all evil. I don't think that's the exact
It's
Bible.
the love of money.
That's the root of all evil. And I kind of look at the world and go, yeah, okay, I can really see that. I can see really bad, corrupt things happening in the world for the, you know, just give me some money. But then I can see some really amazing things happening as well.
So there'd probably be a lot of women watching, and like myself, running my own business. Where can they go to sort of join up or, you know, have this sort of support?
Yeah, sure. You just visit the website, www.christianwomeninbusiness.com.au. It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
And yeah, just go and take a look. We've got free podcasts. We've got free digital magazines, which is really beautiful.
Yeah, and I noticed you had a devotional for people to have a look at as well. So that's
and
awesome.
The amazing thing of the devotional is it's made up of all the women's devotionals from the Monday mornings, and we've put it into a book.
That's lovely. Thank you. Look, thank you so much for sharing what you do and the resource out there for other women. Really appreciate it. And SJ, if you'd like, we'd love you to hang around for our next topic because I'd really like your input on it, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Well, over the last few years, talk and action around gender pay gap has been gaining momentum. Several reasons have been cited for this, and a main one is being that women are not assertive enough to start the conversation about a race. Stop rolling your eyes. But what if they don't know there is a gap there? Well, Mira Jagger-Nathan writes for Moneyish.com about what women have to gain by openly talking about their salaries. Come on, you can't roll your eyes. You know I'm coming straight to you. Why are you rolling your eyes?
Oh, look, you know, and I've just started working for somebody doing their books in the last couple of weeks, and I just walked in and I said, if you want me, this is how much I'm worth. And they were like, yep, fine, thanks, that's what we'll pay you.
Yeah, okay.
You know, you know, as I said before, I've been in business most of my life, and I struggle with this because as a business person, you are paid what you can afford as a business person. And I understand that salaries are different, but sometimes I often think, be grateful you've got a job. Because there's heaps of people out there that don't have a job.
That's the point, but you don't want to be taken for granted either. Like, is this a topic, SJ, that sort of comes up with the women within your community at all?
Yeah, and it is around the wealth, like how much do I pay, how do I work all the percentages out as well. So we've got e-commerce and you've got service-based businesses. So how is it that I need to position myself so I can charge that much and deliver? Because you don't want to
Under-deliver.
and under-deliver, but you do want to also make sure that you can support your family and keep your business going.
Yes.
Do you think that that's different, though, within a business setting where you're asking your clients to pay a certain amount versus in a company where where you have a particular salary and, you know, you have to go into your boss to ask for a raise? I think the scenarios are a bit different, like what you're charging a client.
Is it, though? Is it?
I would imagine that it is, like what you're charging a client versus what you're asking your boss to pay.
So can you walk into your boss and say, I'm worth this amount of money, I want to be paid this?
I do believe that, like, the setting that I'm working in or that I choose to work in, I probably could be paid more money or a different salary if I went to work in a different organization.
So what stops you from going and asking for more money?
Because I think that, you know, I work for the church, so I don't feel like, you know, the reason why I work there is to make the top dollar that I could. I feel like I could go out and work in industry and make more money, you know?
Melody, quick question. Have you ever spoken to your colleagues about what you earn and what they earn?
I have not, simply because of an experience I've had. Someone in payroll actually said to me, I know how much you earn. You can afford that, can't you?
They did.
It's so inappropriate.
Wowzers. Oh, well, look, I think there's more to say, so please jump onto our Facebook page. Have you spoken to your colleagues about what you earn? Is it going to help in the whole gender pay gap? Who knows? SJ, thanks so much for joining us. We've loved having you here with us. Ladies, always a pleasure. We've also got our magazine. If you want this for free, just write to us at hello@thetabletv.com. Otherwise, we will see you next week, and I clearly need to take a break. Bye.